And a very good evening to you boys and girls, cats and dogs, goldfish, elephants, llamas,
Range Rovers,
Land Rovers, Range Rovers. Other brands are available. Welcome to the Pro Synth Network show live. We are suitably delayed. We were doing so well, and then my little Stream Deck box decided to not play ball. But it's playing ball now, hopefully. Welcome. It is the 22nd of March 2024. It's our penultimate show before our birthday, which is next week. 4 years old next week even. Make sure you come back for that one. We'll have cake and fizzy pop and ice cream maybe. But anyway, welcome to the show. How have you been? I hope you've been well. We've got news for you today. We've actually got stuff to talk about. And so, before we do any of that, let's just remind you, please do give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Subscribe to us, ring that bell, share us wherever you can to let people know that we are here. That would be fantastic. And also, if you want to support the channel, just click on the super chat or super stickers in the YouTube chat, or you can click on the thanks button if you're watching on catch up, or better still, if you want free stuff, you can come and join us on our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/ProSynth Network. And you can subscribe to there for as little as £2 a month, and that gets you access to the Patreon page, where there are exclusive videos and sound patches and downloads, which are slowly but surely increasing all the time. So you'll get all of those if you sign up there. And we'll also make those available to our YouTube members, because that's another way you can support the channel, is to join us as a YouTube channel member, and we'll fling those freebies your way as well. So if you want to support the channel, do that. You don't have to. It's not obligatory, but it's fantastic that you do, because it keeps us on air for, as you will see next week, for 4 whole years, which is fantastic. So thank you to everyone that's subscribed so far, and to everyone that's donated so far. We are super grateful. Don't forget, you can also follow us on all of the social medias: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Threads, and X. And of course, we're broadcasting on X and Twitch and Facebook, as well as YouTube. So if you're joining us from those places, welcome. Thank you for your patronage. It's always welcome. If you have a question during the show, whether it's to do with something that we've said, or whether it's to do with a subject we're talking about, then stick a big capital Q in front of your comment, and that way it stands out and we can pull it out and have a laugh, and then maybe share it with the rest of the people watching the show. So thank you very much indeed for your attention. Let's bring in everyone else. Of course, I'm ably supported by the lovely... first off, Mr. Kent Spong.
Hello.
Hello, darling. You're right.
Can I just say before we start and get into everything? Oh my God, bitch! Have you seen Andrew Brooks' haircut? Oh, it's to die for.
Andrew Brooks.
Yeah. Oh.
Everyone's haircut's getting noticed except mine, which was 3 weeks ago, and no bugger said anything about that. Not that I'm grumbling. Carry on, Kent. How are you?
I'm perpendicular.
Which is good.
Yeah. Do you know what? One time a day I used to turn off the lights in the studio so I couldn't see what a tip it was. And now I turn off the lights for mood. Because it is absolutely immaculate in here. Even Siri doesn't drop hair.
Wow.
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
Impressive stuff.
Yeah.
I think it requires a visit. Is that sunlight that is hitting your... That can't be sunlight this time.
No, that's not sunlight. No, not this. As a rule, no.
You are in the same time zone as me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that is a light of some description.
Interesting. You've got the guitar hung up on the door now. Is that new? That's new, isn't it? On the cupboard door?
No, that's the old guitar.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not been on the door before.
No, because the cables aren't there now, because I've got the cable racks to go over here next to said 55.
To hold that half ton of cables that you ordered. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a one or two to hang.
Cool. Anyway, well, good to see you.
Thank you.
You've had some work. You've had some homework this week as well, haven't you? So we shall reap the rewards of that later. More on that piece of intrigue. Let's go over to Sunny Stroud, or there or thereabouts.
Or was.
Welcome, and welcome, Mr. Andrew Longhurst, who is not feeling very well, so you got to be quiet.
No one noticed my haircut.
Well, no, because it has
making
been
it a
cut.
different shape isn't a cut.
Combing it doesn't count.
Yeah.
I found both of them as well. I found both of them.
Hairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
There was a hint of a brown one somewhere, but. Hello. Good
other than
evening.
your wig, your syrup. How are you?
My syrup. I've always wanted a wig. I've always sort of hankered after being either bald or having to have one of those really short feathered cuts, really really short, tiny little buzz cuts or whatever they're called. But I look like a thug if I do, so I've had to just stick with the hat.
Other than that, good week.
Good week. Welcome to Pro Synth Network, by the way. Yes, it's been a really, really good week. Very busy, lots done. Things are just going mad. And it's been a very good week. Very, very good week. Sold by DX5, everyone. Yay! There we go.
Cool stuff. Excellent.
All bananas.
Indeed. Well, there we go. We have a show ready to go. So let's crack on. Before we do that, though, let me just say to the three superstars. He says this every week. Go on, twist my arm yet again. You don't have to, Mr. Brooks, one of our moderators, who is also a channel member, and he's then still paying money on top. So we love you. Okay, we get it. We love you and your haircut.
Apart from your cruddy haircut.
Has he actually had a different haircut to the last one, or has he just had it trimmed?
Don't care.
No.
I don't know. I just saw him in the chat saying that nobody had noticed it. Well, nobody mentioned it, rather.
Oh, there you go.
So I mentioned it.
We've mentioned it frequently. We often do. Thank you, Andrew, and your hair. It's much appreciated. And thank you to Glenn Diamond for £3.33 belated third birthday. Well, I suppose it is. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
And Too Many Knobs. I love that name.
It is a goodie.
$20. Thank you very much indeed. That is superb. Lovely, 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 lovely.
Loot. Lovely lucre.
Yeah, we do like that. A little bit of filthy lucre. Much appreciated. Of course, we mentioned that Andrew is one of our moderators. We've also got Ben from Musines. He's another one of our moderators and probably swinging by. I haven't seen him there yet, but he generally swings by later on. Andy Synth Addict is another one of our excellent moderators who throw up links to the things that we talk about in the chat so that you can click on them and buy them or investigate them at the very least.
And shows me pictures of carpet.
Yeah, indeed. So let's crack on with the first thing. We've got some good things. We've got some not so good things. Quickly, Andy, $4.93, more Super Booth beer. Thank you very much. Is that how much a pint costs in Berlin? $4.93. Okie dokie. Whoops. Still rocking the girls. Yeah, I think he is. And Stephen Smith.
Stephen, you bastard.
Thank you very much indeed. Much appreciated for your Australian $20.
Yay.
Much appreciated. Thank you very much for those. Right, we've got news this week. We've actually got stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah.
And some of it's good, some of it is not. Or
it's all marvellous. It's all marvellous.
It's conversational is what it is.
Okay.
We're costing Steve a fortune here. His in-ear monitors are coming tomorrow. Look, I'm sporting my lovely new in-ear monitors, which apparently I should have used an Amazon affiliate link because loads of people have been buying them based on my recommendation, and I'm using them tonight. It's fantastic. You all sound bloody awful because now I hear what you actually sound like. No, it's just nice not to have big heavy things that eventually get kind of hot and sweaty on my head, but I have to do my hair
get off
because I can't get away with the excuse of it's the headphones.
Headphones. Sorry, now I get you. Right, with you now.
Indeed. But I will mention these later and tell you all where to get them because they are rather good and rather good value. Anyway, thank you for your donation. That'll help cover the cost of the in-ear monitors. which is not very much. Anyway, let's say good news, bad news, some indifferent news. If you're looking for a bargain, we've got one or two bits of information there. But we will kick things off, I think, with this fine piece of software, which was released this week. It's an update to a very good pre-existing product. It's now at version 4. It is GeForce's Virtual String Machine. Now, I know that went on a little long, but I really enjoyed that music. It's a cracking tune. I don't know whether that's Alex, because I know Alex has been doing a bunch of their launch videos. So I don't know whether that was Alex or whether that was Mr. Spears or somebody else. It might be could have been Graham or anyone else there at Castle GeForce. But yeah, there you go. Virtual String Machine version 4. So basically, this is VSM getting its its new skin. So they've brought it into line with things like Mtron Pro and Mini Monster and Oddity and all those that have got the new fully scalable UI. And as Wagyu pointed out in the chat, it'd be nice to have a window larger than a postage stamp. Because the last one was rather small on these kind of large screens that we have these days. So yeah, we get the full thing. It's a lot clearer. There's a bunch of new stuff in there, including effects, and there's over 200 new patches in there as well. Although the actual sample library stays the same. So when you update, if you are updating, you only need to update the application and the plugins rather than the entire library, which weighs in at I forget how big it is. It's 11.5 gig of data. So, but if you're buying new, it's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile download. 46 different string machines, all meticulously multi-sampled in many, many different ways. And in fact, this still contains my old Godwin string symphony, which kind of got into this in a very roundabout way. But it's there, and it makes me less sad that I sold it, because I sold it to a man, and that man let these people sample it. So I've kind of got it back, and I was quids in, although I didn't sell it for much because it was in a pretty bad way when I sold it. $69.99 at the moment. If you want to buy it brand new, there is an upgrade, I think, for $39 if you've got any of the previous versions. And of course, they will go up. Bear in mind that all those prices are ex VAT or sales tax or whatever you call it in your part of the world. But yeah, it's just a lovely, lovely thing. I mean, String machines were one of the first kind of popular polyphonic synthesizers, weren't they? They were everywhere for a period of time, and everyone used them. And then they got kind of a bit cliched and a bit overused, and then they kind of went away, and now they're back again, and people love them. I think this is great. I've had a lovely time playing with it, and it's a really nice thing. Gentlemen, who wants to have a go on this one? Anyone? Anyone got anything to say? Any thoughts?
Well, I must admit, this is the first time that I've had a GeForce video where there was a point in it where the, should we say, detuning made me wince slightly.
I'm so glad you said that, Kent.
Yeah, but when you're having a strawberry angel delight and you find there's a bit of earwax in it, it's that kind of reaction, It's just sort of go, oh, like that. And yeah, there was a couple of points in the track that just made me go, oh God. But the thing that pissed me off more than anything else in the world is that when things are made a feature in software, that I have people screaming at me at the door to get rid of from the original gear. I've never ever worked this one out. When they go, yeah, it's great, this software's great because it's got instability and it doesn't even track across the keyboard correctly. But if it's the real thing, look, that's what they're like. No, I want it perfect.
It's like
I've
tape
never
machines,
worked
isn't
out.
it?
Yeah,
we
I've
hated
never worked
tape
it out.
machines.
Yeah,
And now we buy plugins to give us all the wow and flutter.
yeah, you just can't win.
No.
But hey, but yeah,
But
I like
indeed.
the aging and that detune feature it has. But there was some points in that track where I think it might have been turned up a little bit too much.
It went on for a little too long, didn't it?
Oh,
It's
I
nice
don't know.
to know it's there. Nice to
Yeah.
know it's there, but the use of that vintage thing was just a little bit too.
But every instrument they've made, you've gone, oh, do you know, that would be lovely if that was hardware.
Yeah,
That would be a lovely piece of kit to have in the corner.
can you imagine?
I'd like that in hardware.
Mm.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
dull the aging knob as much as that ever. But yeah,
Indeed.
but I get it.
Well,
I get
in
it.
terms of newness, there's over 200 new patches made from the same library that comes
Out of tune library.
Out of tune library. It now has, of course, the fully scalable UI. The patch and instrument browsers are now back up to the current GeForce standard. There's an additional state variable filter. There's a new 3-band graphic EQ. There is, of course, the aging wow and flutter instability control, new chorus and matrix reverb effects, ensemble effects, individual effects locks, undo, redo, copy and paste. Yeah, you can all read, I'm sure. So there's a lot of really good expanded poly aftertouch and velocity controls, and yeah, just great stuff.
So
Go on.
this thing, I mean, it's going to be a subject that we come back to several times this evening. The video and the music and the sounds that were used. This is actually, this has got how many different string machines on it?
46.
46. We heard about 2 or 3 all going out of tune. We didn't hear a representation of it. I'm not sure if we heard new patches or not. We heard some of the effects.
Other videos are available.
I'm sure they are, but this was just, it's kind of, if you're going to do a video, learn to put something together which says, these are some of the things we do. This is the sexy on it. Because this is actually a really good, I think Kent's right. This
What
would be
about
a
the
wonderful
product? What about, forget the video, what about the product?
I can't tell. I haven't downloaded the product. So, and this video would have made me go,
There's a 30-day demo.
well,
Oh, dear.
no, I'm not. Show me the goodies first.
Show me the
and then
money.
I'll go no, not. If you want me to buy it, let me see it. Really, it really is. So anyway, that to
Show
one
the rabbit
side.
hole.
That to one side. String synths were something we were all brought up with. We were all brought up with, and it was the first alternative for any kind of electronic polyphonicness, as it were.
Yeah.
And we all did wonderful things with, the Salinas and God knows what else, the Logan String Ensemble, all those different things, the Lambda. And we managed because they were fairly limited, we managed to stick all sorts of pedals on them, small stones and bucket brigade delays and things and wah-wahs and all sorts of stuff that made them sound unique. Suddenly started crafting these wonderful sounds, which are all over the 80s and whatever. And that's the bit that's good, that kind of using it as a starting point and doing stuff, because they're not that interesting by themselves. But once you start doing this stuff, it sounds much, much better. And that's what they've built into it, all the kind of pedals that you would have used, those kinds of sounds, phasers, you know, of chorus, whatever. That's now built in, so you can get there. Yeah. The only thing that's missing is a delay, I think. But you know, it would be. I'm sure it's an interesting thing. I think, you know, the price. I'm being funny about price at the moment, but I can't quite see why I'd want to pay that much for it. But they do good things, so who knows? Is it part of their overall deal when you buy a lot of other stuff? Do you get this automatically uploaded? Do they do a deal like that, or is it?
I know they've got a sale on a whole bunch of stuff, but no, this is a standalone product. And I mean, I know the full price is $99.99, but $69.99 I think is not bad for this.
You always get a good product from GeForce.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who has, you know, bought their stuff previously, you wouldn't bulk at any of this stuff at all. You know, you know that's going to be pretty cool, whether it was shown in the video or not. But there's probably so much to show. You would have to go to individual videos, but you know, they've always been good. And you know, I remember the days of, you know, finally getting my I think it was the Wurlitzer, which was the Logan String 2 in disguise. So I was able to get it cheap because nobody knew it was a Logan String 2 in disguise. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Yeah. I love them to death. I love string machines. The thing
is, I mean, string machines are pretty much, I don't say they're all the same, but they're not wildly different. I think they're one of those odd instruments that dry, they all kind of sound much of a muchness.
You'd be surprised, actually.
Yeah, but when you start using a little bit of effects, it's almost like the effects draw out those differences that are subtle and make them more pronounced, and therefore they are then, you know, everyone who says, "Oh, I love the string machine in this," or "I love the string machine in that," is listening to a string machine that's being processed.
Yeah.
No. If you take a raw Logan 2 and put it next to a Selena, the Selena is hard and quite harsh, and there's more square wave in it,
right,
compared to the Logan. The Lambda is different again. It's got a different tone altogether.
Okay.
What other ones have we got? The Krumar one.
What about the Roland thing? The
different again.
Yeah.
Different, but I mean, it's just as different between the VP330 and the RS09. Yes, once they're going through all the choruses and they got the reverbs and shit and everything going on, they can sound the same, because people tend to want to push whatever string synth they've got in a particular direction when they use it. You know, everybody wants to do the Charles sound, you know.
The thing about them is, though, that the Selena, you're right, the Selena was sharper than the Logan. Each one had its own thing, and I particularly liked the Roland. The Roland thing was very good just as a string thing for sitting in the mix. It sat in the mix well. I seem to remember, it's been a while since I've used one, but the Selena, although it was sharper, you could actually, with the twig, once you started doing things to it, you could, EQing it, comping it, doing all that kind of stuff, throwing some effects on. It sat very comfortably in the mix. By itself, it didn't sound great, but it sat very, very comfortably in the mix, giving a really good wash.
But the things that really separated string synths from each other it had nothing to do with sound. You'd have a string synth that had there'd be features, like there'd be a on the Wurlitzer, for instance, there's a little circular ring, and if you touch it, it detunes 0.5%. If you touch on this touch, right?
I do that if you touch my ring.
Well, there you go. So, yeah. And then, so others could do that. There'd be 4 presets. Others would have 8 presets. Some. I think there was one that had like a complete detuner switch, whereas others didn't. So it was all down to features, how many outs there were. Could you have directs?
My Godwin had brass on it as well as strings.
Yeah, which was just a different filter version of the string.
Yeah, well, I was thinking also
the same
of the
call, wasn't it?
The Moog Opus, wasn't it? The Moog Opus had that, had brass as well. There was some good brass on that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But if you took a string, a standard everyday run-of-the-mill string synth, put a nuclear reactor in it and a storage farm, you'd end up with a polymode.
Good question. Were all string machines divide down technology?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you got, and of course you got that full polyphony.
Yeah.
Every single key could be played at once. Some of them had aftertouch.
Did you make any patches that have since been renamed from their original rude names for this one?
Not this one, no. No. It was mostly OBE.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes, mostly the rude ones went to OBE. And deservedly so.
Indeed. Well, there you go. Anyway.
There you go. So you like it, but you like it, Robbie.
I like it because...
Oh, I like it too.
I've always liked the string machine sound. And when I owned one, it was fantastic, but it wasn't working very well. Got rid of it, and by some bizarre twist of fate, it ended up back in this. So I've got it again at no cost, and it doesn't take up a huge amount of room, which the Godwin did, and wasn't stupidly heavy, which the Godwin was, and didn't require huge amounts of work. So I'm very happy with it. And now it's got all this extra stuff, and it's so much more usable. It's funny because all of the G-Force stuff, well, not just G-Force, any stuff that is kind of a little bit old and dated and whose interface is not very usable on a large modern day screen, once they do an update like this, it's like rediscovering the synth all over again, because you kind of just decide I can't be bothered to get right up close to my screen to find out what I'm messing with here or there. So I've kind of spent the last few days or weeks kind of rediscovering all these wonderful things. It's got a GX1 in there, it's got CS80 stuff in there as well. It's got lots and lots of all the classic stuff, and some of the patches are amazing. So yeah, it's very good, very good. There we go. GeForce VSM4 out now, $69.99 introductory price, £39 as an upgrade from any previous version.
Why didn't they mention that, by the way?
What, in the video?
Why didn't they mention?
Why are you so hung up on the goddamn video?
It's because it's shite.
We're talking about the product, not the video.
But
Jesus,
they're very lovely people. They are lovely. I know. Well, sorry, GeForce.
Yeah, they'll never work with us again.
It's a lovely product.
Yeah, all their stuff is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I shall try it.
Try it. You'll love it.
There is. Yeah, I do believe there is a 30-day trial. Demo includes a very limited set of instruments and presets to minimise the size of the download. The trial is not 30 days; it's 7 days. I apologise. The trial version is 7 days. So make sure you set yourself some time to give it a go. Right, there we go. GeForce VSM4 available now. Let's keep the positive stuff, because we have got some stuff that I think we are going to moan about.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, we're going to do something slightly different. I mean, we are the Pro Synth Network, and there is a kind of synthesizer element to this ish. That's what I've been telling myself to convince myself. This is new from Alesis. was rather good.
I
Why?
subscribe to his channel.
Estepario, yeah.
Yeah.
Sickeningly talented. But he is not the thing that we are admiring here. What we are admiring is the brand new drum kit, electronic drum kit. And that's why this kind of sneaks into our purview. And this is the Alesis Strata Prime, which you just saw demonstrated ably there. And I'm sneaking this one in because A, I'm a drummer and I'm very interested in this, and B, the module in this kit is the star of the show. So this is a 10-piece E-drum kit with completely new heads, 2-ply mesh heads. You get a 14-inch snare, then an 8, 10, 12 and 14 tom, plus the full-size 20-inch kick drum. You get the hi-hat, you get a crash, 2 crashes and a ride. Those cymbals are 360 degrees triple zone all the way around, including the hi-hat. So you can use the bell on the hi-hat, which is a fairly uncommon thing on E-drum kits unless you go right up to the high end. But as I said, the real star of the show is this thing, which is the drum brain. And Alesis have always fallen somewhat short of their competitors when it comes to these modules. I've got a Crimson kit and I never use the sounds in there. I always hook it up to a plugin. Even the predecessor to this, the Strike, was okay, but it wasn't great. This is next level. This is going to go up there in terms of sonic quality with the likes of Roland. This is going to go out there in terms of functionality with the likes of Gawa and F-Note as well, who do some really cool kits. This is a 10.1-inch touchscreen interface with essentially BFD3 built in. It runs on a Linux platform. It's got the entire BFD3 engine and library in there. It has 128 gigabytes of storage, 40 of which come with the factory stuff. And that's over 221,000 individual samples. And you can assign any sound to any pad. You've got loads of output options on the rear, so you've got trigger inputs for the entire kit plus more. You've got USB, there's Bluetooth in there for MIDI and audio, audio ins, audio outs. You've got individual outs, you've got stereo outs. It really is this wonderful upgrade from what has been there before, and it uses the BFD library, which is not a bad library to have. It's €3,499, which equates to around 2,900 and something UK pounds. It's a lovely thing though, but I've got nowhere to put it and I haven't got the money. But what do you reckon? I mean, have E-drums now with stuff like this? I mean, I know that the Roland V drums have been around a long while and have been very, very good, but are we now entering this thing where it's almost indistinguishable from the real thing?
It's definitely sounding it.
Yeah,
it's definitely sounding it. And I know this is a few quid. But I mean, when I was watching the demo downstairs, and Fiona was giving it some in the corner, all this business, because she's so metal, it's ridiculous. Yeah, and she goes, "Cool, you know what? That sounds so good. I'd want to buy one, even though I can't play drums." So yeah, I think it's getting there. I think old Half Biscuit was asking if it can be triggered via beat step or gates or anything other than the pads.
Not
themselves.
Directly, no, not directly. You'd have to use a converter because it's only got MIDI, traditional MIDI and USB MIDI, and Bluetooth MIDI. But no, so you'd have to use some sort of conversion process.
Because I couldn't help noticing it had the beat step buttons on it.
Oh yes, yeah. There's kind of I know what you mean. Yeah,
they're going to the same shop.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a standard thing nowadays.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is Alesis, or should I say, this is In Music, who are the parent company of Alesis and BFD and Akai, because there are some Akai libraries in here as well, which you'd expect. This is In Music saying, look, we own these brands. Why do we just, make them work together? It's something they've been doing for a while, but I think this is one of the best I hate to use this word because it makes me sound so David Brent, synergies. This is one of those synergies that I think everyone's going to benefit from, because so many drummers out there have a laptop which has got a plug-in running because they can't, get the sounds they want, the variety of sounds from the drum brain itself.
Yeah.
This is got the plug-in built in. This is its own thing. It's an incredibly good sounding thing, and I've been watching reviews and demos. They've sent some of these kits out. Didn't send one to me, but they sent them out to a lot of e-drum YouTubers, and the stuff that that I've been hearing is just amazing coming out of that box. So that's the star of the show is the drum brain itself, but the pads are a nice new design, because with the strike they didn't go full depth of the shells. Now they've gone back to very shallow shells and a complete new redesign with vents underneath, which makes them even quieter because the air disperses a lot quicker. So they're a much more quieter pad to play. So I'm told, because I've not actually played this one. But yeah, Andrew, e-drums, yay or nay?
In principle, yes, very much so. I've loved e-drums. I like the idea of e-drums, and they are getting a lot better. This looks amazing. It looks amazing. But you know what? Video again. I'm talking with my production head on, right? As a producer and someone making music in all sorts of different styles, certainly with lots of synths involved, I couldn't tell from that video what the sound was like. I could hear him hitting things. He's a great player, but
that's why they've got him to do the video.
Yeah, but there's a guy playing a guitar, crunching away all over it, sucking up all the frequencies that I really wanted to hear, which is the snare, the ring.
Other
the
videos
hats.
Are available. I could have picked another video.
I listened to the other video, the B3D one. I've listened to a few, and it's kind of, why metal? I get it, but really, but put that to one side, because I really do find it super annoying that when I'm looking at something like this, I can't hear what it sounds like, rather than what the guitarist and a really, really good drummer. I want to hear boom, 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 boom. Putting all that to one side, the design on these heads is astonishing, and the cymbals are getting a lot of attention from players out there. Yeah. The brain, I wouldn't know. I've not played with it at all, and I'm going to be doing some research on it, because there is nothing like a drummer playing something like this. Getting a real drummer playing on something, allowing me to use it on my things, record it, the audio and the MIDI, is a great thing. It's a really, really good thing, because you suddenly get feel back into your tracks, which is always a good thing. But I don't know. And at £2,949, I'd want to hear it raw. I want to hear the whole thing first. I'm sure it's got a great library, but I want to see how it plays with someone that's not the best drummer in the world. And I want to hear it without a metal guitar thrashing all over.
Fulfill that straight away.
I just want to hear. I want to hear the instrument.
No,
that's what I want to hear.
I hear it. And there are lots of videos out there, either on the Alesis page or some of these e-drum YouTubers. 65 Drums is a good one if you want to go and watch. He does a 20-25 minute review of it where he breaks it all down, goes through sounds, plays different riffs here and there. You get a good feel for the kit. But yeah, I mean, this is the first time that Alesis have gone into that over $3,000 kind of dollar. Yeah, there you go, Sweetwater demo. There's also Plymouth Drum Company have done a really good one. Alesis have never gone over the $3,000 threshold. Now they have, and they have justified it, I think, with that drum brain alone. But the cymbal pads all being triple zone, all being 360 and chokeable, and that new hi-hat mechanism is very, very clever, the magnetic hi-hat mechanism. My only beef is that they don't include the hi-hat stand or the kick drum pedal, which Alesis did used to do with most of their kits.
I think for another $200 or something, you get all of it.
Yeah,
there's a whole kit thing. Can I also say, because during the last year, that we've talked a lot about in music and about takeovers of various different instrument companies, and with some trepidation. But I have to say that if this is a harbinger of what's to come, I think he's finally kind of reaching critical mass. That's finally reaching critical mass, and all of this stuff is working together. That can only be good. This is a new Roland stroke, Yamaha stroke, whatever. It's doing something that others haven't been able to do, and they've got that expertise from all of these different areas that they now own coming in and bleeding into this. I think it's really good that they're putting something out at this price, because it's a statement. It's a statement of intent.
Oh, yeah.
It also tells us that they may not be frightened to do something similar with Moog.
Indeed.
So
I mean, they did it with Alesis and Akai when the MPC 5000 essentially had a fusion synth engine in there, and they've done it. The Akai Miniac was an Alesis, or their version of an Alesis. What was it, the Ion or the Micron? I can't remember which one. But yeah, they've done it before, but not necessarily so obviously. And once In Music acquired BFD, it was kind of obvious that this was going to happen, and I'm really glad it has, because to have a decent drum brain in there. Yes, will it allow custom samples? It will, absolutely. That's why you've got 128 gigabytes of storage space with USB ports and all sorts in there. So yes, and apparently I am told that in a future update there will be you can do stacks, or it's essentially layering. So you can have different drum sounds, not just
from the SDX. When the SDX came out, that was its thing, 6 layers deep.
But not multi. So you have different multi samples stacked. So you have all of the detail of a particular. Say you've got snare drums, and maybe you want to bring in on a hard velocity, you want the clap sound, or you want maybe an 808 snare to trigger when you give the drum a good whack. So you have all of these different stacks or layers at different velocity levels, but at each of those stacks and layers, you've got all of these multi-samples and round robins going on. So the detail is really, really good. And they've just not been able to do that before building in BFD. And BFD is not even my favourite drum plugin, but it's so well executed.
Question, a technical question sort of thing. With the drums, the snare, the toms, etc., even the kick drum, can you tune the top, essentially do what you would do with a normal snare or other tom, where you can tune the top skin differently from the bottom, so you end up with that
in the drum brain, there will be parameters for you to adjust tension, whether it's snare tension or whether it's skin tension, top and bottom. There'll be different samples, different drums with different characteristics, and you can mess around. You can change, the way the cymbals, So there's enough samples in there, and then of course you've got mic positioning as well. So you can choose which mic positioning, whether you want close mic, whether you want room mics, whatever. So all of that is built in, and you just go through the sample pack, and then you pick your snare drum, and then within the drum brain, you can adjust all of those settings here. In terms of physical stuff, you'll see that there's gold bolts around each of those drums. You can adjust the tension of the mesh head. That's simply for feel. That has nothing to do with the actual sound.
Yeah.
One of the things they have dropped from the Strike, which was their previous flagship, was that each drum pad had a separate volume control or output control on there, so you could adjust each drum, but they've got rid of that, and I think that's just sensible, really, because you can just do all of that from the brain, which just makes it a lot easier. And
the only thing that I think I'm missing on most of these electronic drum kits is cymbals that look like cymbals that are gold.
They
or
did that.
Brass. Did they?
Alesis did that some years ago, and they just didn't. They were metal, but they had to be coated, because one of the and there's a question in the chat which I'll come to in just a moment. But one of the things about an e-drum kit is that you can play it fairly quietly. So if you've got e-drums which, when you tap them, sound like this, and then all of a sudden you hit the cymbal, it's So they had coatings on. Of course, they also had to have the electrical circuits, the piezo triggers and everything in there. Apparently, they just didn't feel and sound right. So it's the. I think Alesis did it. I forget what name they gave them now. But yeah, pretty much, it's rubber cymbals all the way, really, depending on manufacturer. Now, the question I saw in the chat was, why not just buy an acoustic drum kit? Well, you can, and it'll probably cost you about the same amount of money, or probably more, to get a 10-piece acoustic drum kit with all of the rack and the cymbals and what have you. But that drum kit will only ever sound pretty much like that drum kit. And if you want it to sound, we're talking about the differences in sound of string machines. Drums can sound wildly different depending on how many layers of wood are in the shells, what skins you're using, what beaters you're using, whether it's sticks or brushes or whatever.
Yeah, but it's the same question as why buy a real piano when there are so many good sample pianos?
Yeah.
And the answer is you can buy both, or you can have one or the other. And if you've got to choose between one or the other, then you go for the one that you're going to get the most from for your budget. It's as simple as that. The thing is, these are now sounding so close to real drum kits that for the kind of production a lot of people are now doing or have been doing for years, this really fits with that workflow, because you can record it, you can record the performance, and then after the fact replace it like so quickly if you want to, the sounds quickly. But there's nothing like having a real drummer on real drums as well, and microphones and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
I love working with real drummers and mics. I love it.
And you'll probably find that most. I was talking to Richard James Burgess the other week. He's a real drummer. He's played real drums, but he also co-invented the Simmons SDS-V, and he's got a V drum kit as his practice kit at home. And so, some people, why not? Why take two bottles or one bottle in the show, and you can take two? For me, the decision to go from acoustic to electric, which I took about 25 years ago, was space, noise levels, and the ability to hook these up to modern day recording equipment such as DAWs and what have you, and the ability to, back then of course, in 1990 something, when I first got my very first Yamaha e-drum kit, it was the fact that I could trigger samples from an Akai sampler, because we didn't have drum plugins like we did in the day, and the drum brain on the Yamaha was there was plenty of good stuff on there, but
we
not
had to settle for the Octopad instead.
Indeed. But that was, for me, that was the draw, was the fact that, hey, I can build drum kits in my Akai and then play them from my drum kit.
So I want to get more info on, and I'm going to go and have a look at the drum brain itself, because it does look quite good. It actually reminds me a little of the SDX. In the remember the screen that you had with that, where you could look at different layers,
yes,
and whatever.
Yeah.
But it was very primitive. But it seemed like Battleship Galactica at the time. This is kind of a modern. This is an even better take on that. So I am interested. Do you know what?
Yeah.
I may actually hire one in. Get a drummer. Get one of my drummy friends to come along, and I'll just hire one in and try it out on some tracks.
I covered e-drums now for Gear News, and I am just being blown away by the advancement in the technology and the look of these things. Obviously there is an increasing trend for them to look more like real drum kits than e-drum kits. And to be fair, this one has moved away from that, because they've got much more shallow pads on there. Why do you need the full size thing? That's what I don't know. Anyway, BFD3 is what it's based on, and whilst we're talking about that, it might be worth mentioning that you can currently get BFD3 for a mere $49 from Audio Plugin Deals, which is a very good website. They do lots of plugins. Most of them are kind of stuff that you'd probably never heard of, but every now and again they do some real bargains, and they've extended this one ran for a couple of weeks. They extended it by another week, 85% off. It's normally $329. It's now $49. So if you want essentially what's inside, a lot of what's inside the Strata Prime, here it is. Now, bear in mind though that this is I wouldn't say an old plugin. I'm just trying to find a picture of the interface, but the interface itself is not very scalable, and again, it's one of those things that suffers a little bit on a large screen. However, there's a huge library of content that comes with it, and it's $49. So if you're looking to expand your plugin library with some drums, then go and get this, because for another week, it's down by 85%. Other drum plugins are available. My personal favourite is Superior Drummer 3. I think that takes some beating. I've also got Addictive Drums, which is okay, but I think SD3 is just that's the king. But if you want BFD3, which is essentially what's inside that new Strata Prime, there you go. Fill your boots. $49 can't be sniffed at, and you will also earn Audio Plugin Deals points that you can then spend in their shop every time you buy one of those. So there you go.
I just sniffed at that.
Yeah, there you go. What can I say? Fill your boots. So that is that.
Interesting one.
As I said, if that causes Superior Drummer to go... Superior Drummer is the omnisphere of the drum plugin world. It never, ever changes price. It's always the same. I guess if it's that good, why would you? But and all of the top quality libraries that they sell never change in price. The basic stuff does, but yeah. There we go. So there you go. Slight diversion there. Not a synth, but a drum kit. Why not? Variety and all that.
Indeed.
Etc. Etc.
Electronic music, though.
Well, it's electronic, and it's a plug-in inside the box. Right. What shall we do now? Shall we do something controversial? Yeah. Let's do something controversial. Let's talk about this.
Synthesizers?
I'm going to stop it there because it does go on for about 8.5 minutes. Will you just... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So let's do the introduction here. This is not the Vogon. Yeah, this is awful. Not the Vogon replay, but the Vongon replay. And this is what you get when you let an effects pedal manufacturer build a synthesizer. Okay. When this came across my desk, it was rather messy. But after I cleared it up, I honestly thought it said Vogon. And every time I was typing this thing, I was typing Vogon. And I had pictures of Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent being written, poetry.
Yeah.
Upon before the Earth gets blown up to make space for an intergalactic hyperspace highway. And so yes, it was full of Hitchhiker's Guide. Yes. Nice.
Sorry.
Yeah. So this is a new polyphonic synthesizer from a company called Vongon, who are better known for their pedals. And it is a polyphonic synthesizer, a virtual analog polyphonic synthesizer with a multimode arpeggiator that is inspired by the the Roland Juno and the Korg Poly 6, so they say. 6-voice polyphony, 2.5 octave keyboard that is made up entirely of genuine Cherry MX keys, which are these clicky clacky lemon things. There is also Rogan, whatever they are, knobs. Is that a thing? I don't know. What I've never. They made a big thing about it in the. I've never heard of a Rogan knob, but
the elephant in the room here is it looks bloody awful.
Well,
and
we'll get to that. Yeah.
Video again. The video was done by someone that's never touched a synthesizer in their life. All the knobs and buttons that were moving didn't do what was being described, so you've got no idea. And it had plasticine things going on above it. Is this aimed at children? And if it is, why is it $8.99?
I think it's aimed at people that wear lumberjack shirts and have man buns and beards and that kind of thing.
You do realise that this thing has graphics on it. That you can't see,
but you wouldn't know exactly. This is
you can't see them.
This is like hospital beige with white legend on it, and as you can see, I mean, let me just try and zoom in on that.
Where?
Look, go to the name down.
Yeah,
see, now you can just about make out. There's some writing there.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, there's writing on it.
I know.
Jesus!
It would be better if there was nothing. You know, because this is as good as having nothing on there.
Please take note of the rocker switches are plastic. Now, the metal ones used to break off pretty easy. These are plastic ones.
Look at that. And they're asking $8.99 for this. I mean, look, I don't want to slate synthesizer manufacturers, but I'm sorry.
Listen, if it had some legend on it, and if it was... I get the idea as a basic synth, polysynth, it could be a good educational tool, right? Or, I'm not going to talk about the ponytail, gits drinking, Mackie, Lacky, Aki, Akiati, coffee, shizen. This is just, it's not a bad idea, but there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there that do this kind of thing. And guess what? You can read them, and they don't cost 900 flipping. I mean,
but Andrew, what about the video? Sorry,
we've just had so many. There's another one yet. But never mind. Carry on.
Video. I mean, Fiona walked into the kitchen, into the front room while I was watching this video, and I played the whole video just to make sure that it might get better, and which it obviously didn't. But she walked in and she's looking at this and she's going. She goes, well, obviously this keyboard is designed for very, very young children. I said, well, it's 900 quid. She goes, very, very spoilt young children.
Rich young children, yeah. Yeah. There are so many missteps in what could have been an interesting thing. The very fact that you're using... why Cherry MX keys, clicky-clacky keys... I had somebody send me a message today after they read my article on it and said, yeah, but the kids like Cherry MX keys and they're very particular. And these ones are swappable. Yeah, I know.
What?
But gaming kids, apparently. But these keys are swappable. So you can change, because apparently it's a thing that there are different types of these keys. And so they're hot swappable sockets, so that you can replace the switch with alternative actions, because that's something the synth world has been crying out for, apparently. Now, the one good thing about this is that it does have a web interface, which is readable, at least. It has a multi-mode arpeggiator with MIDI sync. It has an aluminium housing. It has 32-bit audio processing. 4 oscillator waveforms and 7 LFO waveforms. And not a lot
six voice polyphony.
Yeah.
What else can you get for 6 voices? With 6 voices, that's a polyphonic synthesizer. Let me have this kind of money or below.
Yeah. As somebody
you can tell this is designed. You can tell this is designed by a foot pedal manufacturer, because when I saw it, I wanted to stamp on it.
That deserves a.
Thank you.
No, you're and they actually make a point of this in the blurb. They say that it's kind of compatible with pedal boards. And I didn't get that until I realised that they were also a pedal manufacturer. I thought, oh, well, that's a selling point.
That's going to break in 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, I don't want to rag on people. And what really got my goat, and I know that David Surchek in the chat is going to agree with me on this, because we both mentioned it last night. As soon as this dropped, there are about, I don't know, half a dozen or so more of these synth YouTubers that not the kind of the mainstream ones, but those that kind of sit at a certain level, and they were all, I mean, the over enthusiasm was off-putting, because I'm looking at this and seeing this, and what I'm hearing is just not a $900 synth. As we've pointed out, you can buy a Mini Freak for $500.
If no other synthesizers existed, this would be a wow. But they've existed for the last however many decades.
And they've all been better than this.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Surely somebody at some point, when they were having the sit down and thinking, go, do you think we should make it so you can read the graphics on it? They go,
everything's a choice here, isn't it? Yeah.
Nah, I don't.
It's
hang on,
because then it will appeal to blind people. Then
can we move on? Yeah, I'd buy. Yeah, so, I agree with James here. Where is it? I've lost it now. Here we go. Tamberwolf is crying. I would prefer to have, and I'll say this, you can quote me on this, I would rather have a Tamberwolf than one of these. There you go. I said it. I feel dirty, but I said it.
I'd rather have the stylophone, but then I quite like the stylophone.
Well, yeah, exactly. I just, even if it sounded amazing, which it doesn't, because another thing with all of those videos that I saw last night, painfully doing research, all of them were going through effects. It was almost like, we need to put this thing through effects. That video that I played, which is the company's own video, is laden with effects. This hasn't even got any effects built into it, not even a little reverb and delay. Mini Freak is, I just keep looking over and thinking, that's 500 quid's worth of synth right there that does everything you could ever possibly want a synthesizer to do.
I think Dina's got it. This may taste, you don't know, but if you get it, it may taste of Rusk.
Or Milky Way.
Yeah,
Milky Bar.
Obviously, this is aimed at a market. Like the way Teenage Engineering did their stuff, and they had initially aimed it at a particular section of society that it was clearly going to appeal to, and this is. It's the only reasonable explanation I can think of that would explain why this thing exists, and it's clearly it's very, very rich people who probably don't know anything about synthesizers or something like that. Or I'm trying to think what section of society this is going to appeal to, apart from psychopaths. Is probably I don't know.
Psychopaths would use it to stab someone with.
The people that download casino apps on their phone because they watched the advert where some woman's making £2,000 a week with it, and they go, "Yay! I don't have to go to work. I'll get this app," and then find themselves in incredible debt. And morons. That's morons. This is specifically designed for morons.
Look, they make great pedals, right?
Apparently so.
They make good pedals.
Stick with what you know.
What? Do you remember the other week we saw a synthesizer which was essentially, we called it a plank of wood, which is what it was. It was a plank of wood, but it had an engine from our wonderful friends at Kodamo, yes? Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe it was a Kodamo, but no, it's just the engine from them. They weren't responsible for that. Do you think this pedal manufacturer has actually put this together at someone else's behest? It's their technology rather than... Because I can't see why you do something this catastrophically stupid.
Yeah.
But it has got a hidden menu.
Has it?
Well, actually, all the menus fucking hidden.
Everything's hidden, yeah.
actually thinking
dear.
about it. Oh dear me.
Yeah.
Oh please, put up another subject
up
before,
another
before I
subject,
lose the will
please.
to live and stick a pencil in my ear.
There's another plank of wood gone live on Kickstarter this week. Send me a
yes.
link.
It needs
Is
wood
it
cheeks.
a audio thing? Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Cool.
Yes. Anyway,
Is it pine?
Planks of wood. Pining for the fjords.
Yeah, it's
Or for the
clearly-
Neords.
clearly a thing. So there you go. That's the first rant of the day. That's the Vongon.
That's number
Vongon
3.
replay. Yeah. So
Wanker plank.
listen, if you buy one of these, let us know, and we after we've stopped laughing, I'd like to hear what it might sound like in the hands of one of our community members.
That drummer
Lady
Yeah.
Aptitude.
playing it with a couple of hands.
Oh, she's always on the ball, isn't she?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Shall we rant about something else? This is funny, actually. So I got in my
Don't. That's not a good one.
no, we're not going there.
Don't go there.
So
Don't go there.
I got a
It was Steve.
yes, I did, and we're
Yeah.
ignoring it.
Don't go there.
So I saw a thing in my Facebook feed the other day that said Blade Runner Live, and it's one of these things. There's a current trend for this stuff, isn't there? That you have a film, a famous classic film being played, and then the music is all done live by an orchestra in the room. They've done it with loads of Hans Zimmer stuff and all this kind of stuff. And now they're going to do Blade Runner Live, and I thought, oh, that could be good. So I did a bit of investigating, and I watched the trailer, and as Kent pointed out, the trailer contains the original Vangelis score. So there is no sound, no score from this supposed live rendition of the Blade Runner score. Then you read on, and it tells you that I'll bring this up on screen. It tells you that the score is going to be performed by an 11-piece ensemble, which contains synthesizers, as well as electric strings and a vocal soloist, an electric drum kit, an electric and acoustic bass, a saxophone and a flute, bass and percussion.
Oh yeah.
Now, what I'm expecting to see, I think what any self-respecting Vangelis fan or electronic music fan would expect to see there, instead of 11-piece band, we would just want to see CS80, Emulator 1. What was the Roland string machine that was used on this?
It's VP330.
VP330. And
Yeah.
basically, Vangelis' kit list, right? Not synthesizers. And then
A Genos 2, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can't play the trailer because it's got the original soundtrack, and we'll just get taken down straight away. No, don't even do that.
Sorry.
Don't even do that. So stop, or I'll mute you all. Right, that's it. You're off. But yeah, so I'm just thinking, how do you do that? How can you take one of the most influential, archetypal, definitive electronic cinema scores and then do it with things that weren't used in it?
Did you see the Channel 4 documentary? Or I think it was Channel 4, maybe it was Netflix documentary about a man that put on a Willy Wonka experience in
Yes.
Glasgow,
Yes.
where he couldn't see why a huge warehouse with 2 or 3 shitty props didn't amount to 35 quid per head's worth of value, because in his head, you could see in his head he was seeing the full Wonka experience, but what everyone else, the rest of the world, saw was a couple of very bad vinyl posters,
Yeah.
a painted chocolate river, and 1 sweet each for each of the children, and that was it, right? That's what this is. This is someone who's putting on an event like the Elf's House at Christmas in Santa's Grotto.
I get that there is an audience out there of Blade Runner fans that are fans a lot more of the film than they are of the music, but they understand that the music is an integral part. It's a character in its own right, but they're there for the film experience. But I would say the vast majority of people who are into Blade Runner are people like us, because it has that iconic
grumpy
pretty much a 90-something% synthesizer soundtrack. I mean, we determined that there is a saxophone on a couple of the tracks. The track One More Kiss Dear, which you hear kind of off. Yeah, all right. So there's some maybe electric or acoustic bass in there. I can understand if you go and see Star Wars and you've got a symphony orchestra playing John Williams' score, because that is almost exactly what was used for the soundtrack of that film. Same with Indiana Jones, same with Back to the Future, same with all of that kind of stuff.
Wrong. Where are we? This one. So here's the thing, Ben. You're right, and you are right. There are people out there that like the film but don't know what a CS80 is. But they will know instantly that it's not the music that was in the film, because it won't sound the same, because the CS80 has that sound. Now, I just think, personally, and it's a very personal thing, you're stupid if you go and watch this and you're expecting they're putting it up as the Vangelis score. It's not. It's going to be.
I mean, they even say in the blurb, in the first sentence, experience Ridley Scott's multi-Academy Award nominated cult classic Blade Runner: The Final Cut on a vast HD screen, while Vangelis' synthesizer-led score. It wasn't led by synthesizers. It was almost entirely made with synthesizers.
The thing about it, though, right, you got to remember this. The score in Blade Runner is one of the actors in the film.
Exactly, yeah.
If you take that music out and then watch that film,
yeah,
it is a completely different experience.
Exactly.
If you change what the music is in that film, it is a completely different experience. Now, it might be, because it might be different, it might be different. It might be. It's not going to be better, but
then it won't be the film.
Different.
Yeah,
it won't be a film.
So it's like
if it's an interpretation, I'd prefer to see it with Roger Whittaker whistling it if he was still alive. Bless him.
Well, the thing is, there is an 80 there, isn't there?
Where?
What?
In the orchestra.
What, in this thing?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Didn't you send me a picture of one?
No, I sent that was a picture of the CS80 being used in the Axel F.
Beverly
Hills.
Thank
remake.
Beverly Hills
that.
Cop thing.
Yeah, because
I
one
was
using
something like a workstation of some description.
I think they've got all the synthesizers at that session, all of them.
That is quite remarkable. I mean, look, credit to Lorne Balfe. Lorne knows his synths, because his old man was into his synths as well, particularly the Fairlight. But
is Lorne doing the music?
Lorne's doing the music for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, the new one. Having not long done Top Gun, I mean, he's doing like every 80s sequel that there is. But yeah, there was a Jupiter 8, there was a CS80, there was
a Moog Modular, there was a Mini Moog.
Mini Moog, there was a Juno 60.
Juno 60, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and this is what it was funny, because they're all sat there as part of the orchestra, which they should be, and they're all playing their parts in live, and people are saying, well, why don't they sequence it? Because it's an orchestra, it's live, do it.
These are instruments. These are instruments.
They're being played as instruments.
There will likely be CS80 samples being played, because there are certain iconic...
In this thing?
Yeah, there's certain iconic sounds that you just can't not have in it. But if you get to that point, you might as well just be playing the original soundtrack.
Yeah.
And there's no point in having a small orchestra sitting in front of the screen.
I just think that Blade Runner, as a cultural icon that it is, the Vangelis soundtrack and the way it was made and what it was made with and who made it is as important as the director of the film, Ridley Scott, or the lead, Harrison Ford, or whatever. It's such an integral part of
Rutger Hauer.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that it's so integral to the whole Blade Runner experience, that to go along to something where it's being played by 11 people with If it is just
I'd
samples,
rather drink an oil slick.
If it is just samples, that's even more disappointing. Because I can just sit at home and do that and watch it in 4K or whatever. You know, it's. Oh dear.
We're on a roll tonight.
We are. This.
I thought I was going to be the only grouchy one, but
I honestly don't like the negativity. I honestly don't like the negativity.
No. Let's do something positive.
By the way, Mr. Synchrotron, that needs to be resolved immediately.
I know a couple of people haven't even seen it yet. So.
That's weird, isn't it?
But they haven't seen The Godfather.
These people walk amongst us.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on, indeed. Let's try and find something positive, shall we? Let's see. We haven't got much left.
My cat was Mr. Evans was very happy when I came back from London. That's positive.
Oh, there you go.
It's all over me. He was. Oh.
Indeed. I didn't see. Apparently, this isn't new. But I didn't realise this was launched when they launched the thing. This is an online browser-based editing tool for your Teenage Engineering KO2 EP133 or whatever it's called. This I can't demonstrate it because I don't have the hardware connected. But I thought this was actually a rather cool little thing. And you can go through your sample library. It looks like a nice little what do they call those tabbed things? I don't know. Tabs.
File of facts.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But it works really nicely, and it looks cool. But apparently, I thought this was new. Isn't, and I can't demonstrate it, and I can't tell you how good or bad it is because I don't have one of these devices. But there we go. That's available. As Paul Holmes says in the chat, it is a nice design. You got to admit that thing is actually kind of cool. Talking of software, let me just see if I can bring this up. Okay, right. So this is going to be interesting. See if we can pull this off. So somebody in our Facebook group asked a question the other day regarding getting a Yamaha PLG 150 AN board, which is the AN virtual analog engine from back in the 90s, as a card to go into their EX5, I want to say, which was one of a number of Yamaha synths back in the 90s that you could expand with these different cards. So there was a DX one, there was an AN one, there was a VL one, there was a percussion one, there was a piano one, there was a vocal harmonizer one. And he said, is it worth doing? And I wanted to learn a little bit more about that card and how it compared to the AM1X, which I recently, picked up last year. And in doing so, I stumbled across this wonderful thing, and I'm going to try and stick the actual program onto the screen. And then if I just move that over there and do this, this is a brilliant new, free, completely free of charge, AN1X editing tool. Now, back in the day, there was a program called AM1X Edit by Yamaha that was released, for anyone that had an AM1X, and it was, I think it was Windows and Mac, but of course, times have moved on, and the Mac version hasn't worked for decades, but the Windows version still kind of works in Windows 10 and 11. Which is nice, but it suffers from that that small screen size on a large screen. It's just blooming useless. This is a guy called Hristo, who is, I believe, Bulgarian. I hope I've got that right. Bulgarian or Hungarian. I'm sure it's Bulgarian. But anyway, Hristo exists. He exists in real life, but he also exists on an old Yamaha mailing list, an AM1X mailing list that's got moved to groups.io. And he posted this up, and it's a Windows, Linux, and Mac OS application that basically gives you full control over your Yamaha AM1X and related products. I'm not sure if it works with the AN200 because I think that's a slightly different format, although it's pretty much the same engine. But this allows you to interrogate your AM1X and bring in all the files that are in in its memory. You can then create databases, and as you can see here, last night I uploaded every single AM1X sound bank that I've got. So as you can see, there's a total of 7,168 patches in here. Many of them, as you probably see as I scroll through, if I sort them by name, you'll see that there's lots that are duplicates. So I'm going to have to go through and thin this out. But once you've got this database here, you can just click on the voice and it goes straight to the synth, and you can demo it. And all the access to all the features is here. So each scene, because if you're familiar with the AM1X, it has 2 scenes, so you can have basically two voices per patch. Effects, sequencer and arpeggiator, so you can mess around with that and do all of that. The free EG, so it's got a free envelope generator that you can then, look at this, it's almost like a Fairlight. You can draw in your own envelope waveforms there, which is fantastic. And then there's the matrix, and it's all working in a brand spanking new up-to-date application, which is I think is absolutely brilliant, and it's completely free of charge. I couldn't believe it. And I went through this and I've been playing around with it for the last couple of days, and one of the things that I wished it had was a column here for favorites, so you could just say, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. So I put a little message on this board yesterday, and almost immediately got a response from the developer saying, great idea, that's going in the next build. How cool is that?
That's really cool.
That's really cool. And this is completely free of charge. And if you want to test this out and download it, let me just go and find the web
It's on
page.
GitHub, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on Git. You don't need to go and sign up for the AM1X group, but there it is. It's on GitHub. I'm sure one of our fine moderators will pop that into the chat. It's at version 1.2, and that just dropped last week. So this is a current modern thing. It's not something that's been sat for a couple of years. There is source code available. There are executables that have been pre-built there for you to just download and install, and it works brilliantly. And if you do have an AM1X or an AM1X compatible device, you can load it and then make a donation, which I should be sending him something forthwith. But this is great. I love this sort of stuff. Anything that keeps old synths alive, I love it. And the fact that this has basically opened up this synthesizer and all of the tons of library I've got, I can actually go through and listen to it all without having to sysex a bank at a time to demonstrate. It's brilliant. Now, if Nick Howes was in the chat, and I don't think he is, I think he'd be getting all moist about the gusset about this, because I think he actually recruited the guy that wrote the original AM1X edit software back in the day. But there you go. Thank you, Andrew, for putting that in, and also to Ben.
Ben, yeah. Thing is, this kind of thing, it's a passion project for someone who's clearly a fan of the AM1X. They've built it so they could do their own editing, right? I'm fairly certain.
Yeah.
And we often support, we want to support people with bonkers ideas, and we're fairly charitable sometimes, though not always, with people that are putting out mad ideas and trying new things out. But this kind of thing, where people are developing this kind of software and it's for free, I hope he does some sort of, for a cup of coffee or a donation, give us something, because he's put a lot of work in on this, and it looks like it's a really solid piece of coding.
Yeah.
For what it is, and he's doing it just because he can and because he wants to.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's responded to you so quickly,
I know that was
great.
That's great. Because sometimes
really,
you find
really
these
good.
things, and you eventually find that it was written 2 or 3 years ago, and the developer got cheesed off or got distracted or went on to bigger and better things. And I know that the audience for this is going to be reasonably limited, because I don't know. I mean, the AM1X was quite a popular synth back in the day, but I don't know how many people still use this. Stephen in Australia says he's going to try it with his AM200. Please do, because I'm not entirely sure if it works, because I managed to download some AM200 files and it wouldn't see them. So the AN1 file extension is that which is generated by the AM1X editor. And I know that there was a separate AN200 editor that worked within the XGEdit environment. So I'm not entirely sure, but Paul Artola says that he tried and it failed, but then he's got a dodgy unit, so it might be that. But I'm kind of erring on the side of caution. This will definitely work with anybody that's got the AN plug-in board, because that's essentially almost identical. There's a few slight differences.
What did that slot into? Which models did that slot into? Can you remember?
So the EX workstations, the 5 and the 7, the CS6X, because I've got the VL board in my one, and then I think the CS6X was also very closely related to the S80, and there were a few others, and I think some of the MU, the Yamaha versions of the sound canvas, those big kind of half width, all singing, all dancing, multi-timbre boxes. I think some of the higher end ones of those had the plug-in boards, but it was a great idea. And of course, nowadays it's kind of a moot point because it's all done in software anyway. But you could have. There was a range of boards. There was the AN board, which is the virtual analog. There was the VL, physical modelling. There was the DX. There we go. We know what that one is. There was a piano one, which was loads of AWM piano samples. There was a vocal harmonizer one. I believe there might have been a drums and percussion one as well. And most of those synths could take 2 of those at any one time. A bit like my wife. No. The ANG 150, what was that? Is on the AN 200, but it's worth a try. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I thought the 150 board was what was inside the AN 200, but maybe there's a different file structure. I don't know, but it's worth giving it a go. But yeah, I know we've slated some people tonight, but I want to give Christo a massive shout out for this, because it's free. It's for the community. Yeah, and he has got a bunch of videos on YouTube, and they're all of him playing some of his patches, which his own patches are really, really quite nice on the AM1X. It's one of those synths that I'm so glad I eventually got one, and particularly with this, because I found sounds. Where is it? Have I got my volume turned up on this thing? I hope so. Oh no, I haven't.
You've got the cat alarm on.
Slick,
yeah, slick, isn't it? That's so Trevor Horn, that sound.
Yeah.
Slave.
Yeah, isn't it? And Frankie and Propaganda and all that. We were saying that before we came on there. It's just great. It's
wouldn't let me play Blade Runner though.
Well, yeah, you play well. You see, you play well enough for a bot to go.
Cobblers.
No, you play well enough for a bot to go. That's the real thing. But yeah, and of course the AM1X has an FM engine, or FM capability in there as well. Yeah, it does a really nice digital piano. Anyway, links in the chat if you want that. Thank you, Christo. The QAN1X editor is available free of charge from his GitHub page. Go and get it if you have one of those, and make a donation as well, because I'm going to. Let's see, what can we waffle about next?
So, well, if we're waffling, if we've got time to waffle, those opening STTR chords, as Ben says, wasn't that Anne Dudley did those? Because she used to do a lot of that stuff. I'm sure it was Anne Dudley played those.
She might have done. Absolutely might have done. What I played wasn't so Slave to the Rhythm.
I know, but the Slave to the Rhythm chords.
It's the sound, yeah.
Ba-dum.
Yeah, and it might have been Andy Richards.
Well, we know a man who might know now.
Yes,
Mike King.
Indeed.
Oh,
who was trying to get to come on the show.
Yes. I just want to. So you might have noticed. I might have said that I've got in-ear monitors now, as opposed to.
So have I.
My trusty Bayer Dynamics, which I still think are the best headphones ever made. But I thought I'd give these a try because they're more discreet, and they were on offer. And it seems like everyone's like, I'm the last person to find out about this, because I posted this up somewhere on, I think it was on Facebook, and I've had all these professionals like Tim Dorney saying, we bought a few pairs of these for Saffron because she prefers these over her £900 custom-made in-ear monitors. And I just thought, what the heck is going on here? What have I missed? So just so that everyone can take advantage of this, because it is a limited offer in Amazon's spring deals. These are Chinese-made Linsol KZ ZS10 Pro X in-ear monitors, and they are apparently being used by professionals all over the place, which is amazing. And they're currently on offer at $39.99. There's some slightly different models. You can get different colours if if you're into your pinks and your purples. You can go for, which didn't really appeal. Detachable cables, and you can then therefore use better cables or longer cables. You come with them without mics. But I've got to say, I was listening. The first thing I put on this was some Steely Dan, some high res Steely Dan, and my word, it was exquisite. And I'm thinking, I paid 40 quid for these. It's mental. Comes with a variety of earbuds to suit your ears. I think my left ear might be a little smaller than my right ear, so I'm going to mess around because I've been fiddling with it all day. But yeah, they're really, really cool. And the cable that comes with them is one of those that clips around the back of your ears and you can't see it in normal use. And yeah, I just thought that everyone should know about these because they're rather blooming good. So knock yourself out.
Do they link together for proper stereo? Do they link via either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth so that they are in sync, or is it just separate amplification in each one?
What?
For these, do they... So you've got left and right.
Yes.
Okay. Because they're not connected by wires.
Yes, they are.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay. They're connected to each other.
Well, they have a cable that ends in a 3.5mm stereo jack.
Fine. Sorry, I thought they were wireless. No,
No.
none of that.
No.
Right.
No. I can't wait for somebody to come up with a wireless audio protocol that is zero latency and really good quality. I'll be all over that.
It's called speaking.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, and they're just they look nice as well. They're very discreet and
Don't suck it now. Don't.
Yeah, remember that strawberry mousse?
I feel like a news report, and I got
What's the chemical formula for earwax? What is it?
I don't know, but it doesn't taste nice.
2 parts with
And my
How do you know?
there.
How do you know?
how do you not know?
Well, I've never stuck my finger in my ear, pulled out some earwax, and goes, I wonder what that tastes like.
Never in your 79 years on this planet.
643. No, never. Never.
Have you never had children?
Yeah.
They
I
tend
beat
to
them if
stick
they
their-
bring their earwax near me.
I
Or
think
My
booze.
son, my son, who is 18 and a half years old, leaves all his bloody earwax over my VR headset.
Yay!
Ugh.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
Have a go.
Keratin, 12 to 20. Here we go. There we go. That. James Dyson, you're a beaut. Now we know.
Earwax has got alcohol in it. Well, there's a thing. Maybe that's why I love it.
Maybe I will start.
Cats like earwax, supposedly, says Wagyu.
Yeah.
That's another good thing. They do tend to clear your ears out better than a Q-tip. So
Next week, we're going to do a feature on Bovril.
yeah, or bogies.
Bogies, that will work. Colonel
Bogies and
Bogies.
Bovril. Bogies on toast.
Bogies and Bovril. Anything else?
We've got let's see. We've got 25 minutes. Let's get this one out of the way because this is just a very quick one, and then we're going to go to Kent for his opinion on something. Yes, so get ready.
Yeah.
He's going to wave his fist.
Yeah.
So if you are interested, it is now Arturia's V Collection days, and you can get your own personal offer, depending on, of course, the Arturia stuff that you have in your Sonic arsenal. It's only on until April 4th, but you can get, I think it's up to about 50% off V Collection for the next 14 days, 11 hours, 22 minutes, and 20 seconds. It's all there. And go and fill your boots with that one, because the V Collection, I think, is probably the best suite of software plugins that you can get today. So that's on offer. Go and sign into your Arturia account to find out what your personal discount is. And stay tuned for all things Arturia over the coming couple of months, because I do believe it's their 25th anniversary, and they are planning some really cool things that we can't talk about. But yes, there we go. Just thought I'd let you know for that one. Right, okay. Now we're going to move on to Phrase Plant Expressive Suite. What is Phase Plant Expressive? Well, Phase Plant is a software synthesizer made by Kilohertz. See what they did there? Kilohertz. And it's a brilliant plugin. It's a really good plugin in its own right. It's kind of got a very modular sort of way of doing things, and it kind of reminds me of how you build synthesizers up in UVI's Falcon. There's different layers and stuff, and it's super detailed, and you can get to some really cool things. So much so that the makers of the Osmos Expressive E thought that this was a brilliant pairing with their Osmos keyboard and other, of course, premium MPE products. And so they've developed 4 sound banks. One is called Delicious, which looks after your kind of analog synthesizer type sounds.
And tastes like earwax.
One's called Stripes, which looks after wavetable and FM kinds of sounds.
Tastes like rock.
And then you've got Onirika Volume 1 and 2, which are more cinematic, evolving, soundscapey type things, which taste like bogies.
You beat me to it.
Yeah. So
which one's Bovril?
They've come up with these 4 banks, each of which I believe costs around €15 each, but you can buy all 4 for a discounted price. If you don't own the Phase Plant plugin, you can currently get that with the banks direct from Expressive E for €99, which would have normally cost you €200.
Wow.
If you already own Phase Plant, you just tick the box and you can just get those 4 packs for €39, which is going to save you is it 45% or something like that. So it's a good buy.
So you get Phase Plant, if you buy the whole thing, you get Phase Plant Expressive
for
$99 plus those 4 for $99.
For $99.
Wow.
And so this came into my view, and I thought, that sounds good. Even though I don't have an Osmos, I'll have a go with that. And I played it, and I've got Kent's regular Hydrasynth here, which is that, and what else have I got that's Poly AT? Nothing. Oh, apart from the Micro Freak. So I was playing it with that, and actually I was playing it just through my regular KX88, which has just got mono aftertouch on it. And these things sounded amazing. So I thought, these must sound brilliant on an Osmo. So we challenged Kent. I got him a copy, sent it over, and we did this on Tuesday across a pub, and during which we discovered that Cubase and the Osmos don't like each other, to put it mildly. And we were trying all sorts of different things to try and get it to work properly. But I understand that you might have solved this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to Kent to kind of recount his tale of woe, and maybe even give us a demonstration of some of the sounds. Over to you, sir.
All right. Yes. No, I've been in contact with Steinberg about this. This isn't directly the Osmosis fault, and definitely not the software's fault.
Oh yes, sorry, can I just interrupt? We also need to thank Steve Elbows.
Exactly.
Who downloaded the demo of this and stayed up quite late to...
Yeah, I was going to mention that actually, because it was him that put me on the whole route. And yes, but so what it is with Cubase as a rule, if you plug, say, the Roly into it, it goes, oh, you plugged in a Rolly, well done, and all the rest of it, and it will just poly AT and do everything that Rolly's supposed to do. If you plug in the Hydra, you get pretty much the same result. But if you plug in the Osmos, it has to be added as an expression device. And then you have to go through the list of expression controls and assign them. And it's a big faff. And I believe that Kilohertz have a short video to show you how to set it up in Cubase.
Oh, right.
That I hadn't seen, but of course Mr. Elbows found. Although you need a player that you can set it down to quarter speed so you can actually see what they're doing, because it's just go there you go. What did you click on? What did you click on? So ideally. However, even with doing this, it wouldn't poly AT. So if you press a chord and you push all 3 notes down, the volume just cuts out altogether. So I still had to put it into channel pressure, or poly pressure, I should say, rather than turn MPE off and go back to it with the Osmos, not with the Rollies, not with the Hydra. So I'm now talking with Steinberg about some sort of, they want to try and get that to connect properly, be recognised, rather than be listed as a custom device. They want it to actually come up saying Osmos.
Well, as Steve Elbows has pointed out, Steinberg updated Cubase just after this happened to auto-detect Osmos, but he says he thinks it's broken on Windows.
But you've got this on Mac, haven't you, Kent, now?
Yeah, I've got this on Mac and it's doing it as well. I mean, there's a couple. There was the other thing that while I was talking to Steinberg, I said, well, look, while I'm in communication with you, can I just point out that the flickering that Cubase 13 does in Windows, it does on the Mac Studio as well, and badly. And they went, oh, we didn't think it did that on the Mac. I go, well, it does on my Mac. Now, my Mac might be different from everybody else's Mac. I've certainly been given that impression lately, to the point we thought, oh, should we send this back? But essentially, it will work, but you just, if you're using Cubase, you need to add it as an expression device and assign everything to it, and depending on what keyboard you're using. But if you are using an Osmos, it looks like you need to turn off MPE and assign aftertouch to poly pressure in the settings for that device.
Right.
So it's a bit of a run around the houses with it, but it will work. And once it's working, it sounds really nice.
So what do you think of these sounds that Expressive E have designed for?
Well, it's an absolute bleeding godsend, to be honest with you, because I haven't been a massive fan of the sounds that come with the Osmos.
Right.
There's a couple, but that fit into my genre of playing, I suppose. And then there's a lot that are sort of like, no, they're all clanky and tinky and incredibly digital and all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. And I can't use them for various reasons. So this has given me a plethora of stuff to play with. And it's quite in depth. It's very interesting. You've got some sequenced patches. You got some conventional instruments as well, which it was screaming out for in the first place. That's the whole point of having this kind of response from a keyboard, is you can recreate the articulations of real instruments. So, but if blame had to be laid anywhere, it's pretty much at the doorstep of Cubase itself at this point. So hopefully that'll just get all sorted out at some point and we can move on.
Can I just share this with you?
No, it doesn't. Honest to God, it won't. It won't poly AT properly. I've tried everything. I have tried everything. But if I turn the poly AT off, if I turn the MPE off, it will work then. But as of today, yes, it does. No, it won't work on mine. It won't work on mine. Okay, it just won't work on mine. I have to turn the bloody MPE off. Honest to God, I don't know why, but there you go. I've tried it with it on and with it off. all the other settings exactly the same, and it won't do it. It just won't. So,
moving on before a fight breaks out. I just wanted to read a comment that David Bessel wrote about this, and
go on.
I kind of agree with it, and this is about specifically this sound bank and this library.
Yeah.
David Bessel, have we had him on? Did we have him on this show? I know I've interviewed him for Sound on Sound, but I can't remember. But he's one quarter of Node. So with Mel Wesson and Flood and Ed Buller.
Lovely man, lovely man.
Really, and he's Royal College of Music educated, so he knows his SH1T. Anyway, he said, I think what a lot of people would like is new sounds programmed in the Egan matrix, rather than controlling a VST in this way. I guess you need to know quite a bit about various synthesis methods to do that, and the Egan matrix has some quirks in how it actually works. Having said that, it's not impossibly difficult to make your own sounds. You just need some patience and time, and it's not instant gratification. If I had more time, I'd make a new sound set, blah, blah, blah. The possibilities in the Egan matrix itself are really quite mind-blowing. And he says his patches, barely scratch the surface, and he's very into his kind of physical modelling and stuff. And it does seem odd that Expressive E have turned to a third-party plugin and done a tie-in, so it's obviously going to be nice for both of them, rather than take what's in their machine. Is it? I mean, do Expressive E think it's not, or that it is too difficult to come up with stuff for that? I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there.
I couldn't tell you.
Yes.
I have sent a mail off to Expressive E.
But it just seems odd that rather than big up the stuff that comes with their product, they've gone to a third party, and it's fine. I don't see a problem with that, but it just makes you wonder why they didn't.
So, have there been many or any third-party libraries for the Osmos?
I don't know. I don't own one, so I don't really.
Not that I've come across. It's just what strikes me as the biggest pain here is that without doing anything at all, just fire up Cubase and select the Roly Rise and load up the face plant, and I can just play it on the Rise straight out the back. I don't have to do anything. So.
Interesting.
Interesting.
But what is the thing? The thing is, it's still livable because if I set it to Poly AT, the keyboard does everything else. You have all these advantages of having the Osmos keyboard. That all works fine. But for some reason, on at least this, I mean, this was an early one. This was a morning build. This baby.
Friday afternoon.
Well, it was. It was literally part of the.
Have you got it up and running at the moment?
Yeah.
Can we have a list? Show us.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let me grab something. Let's find a sound for you. Well, we've got one called Lush.
Go on then.
Go on in. There's a sound.
Very nice.
There you go. Absolutely
nice.
Lovely. But yeah, so like I say, if I put it into Poly AT mode rather than MPE for the Poly Aftertouch, I get Poly Aftertouch. And if I put it into exactly the same way as it's set up in the video, it works for like a second, and then it goes mono, which is just very, very weird.
Isn't it? Yeah.
So I've reloaded firmware, I've done all sorts of bits and bobs. All latest updates on Cubase, and it likes to muck around. So
Well, I mean, this isn't. I mean, yes, all right. So it is explicitly made for the Osmos.
Yeah.
But I downloaded this and I've been having a ton of fun. There's some really cool sounds. Just using it. I mean, I was actually using it and finding getting a lot more mileage out of it using my Launchpad X, which is a Poly AT grid thing. But also, even just on a regular mono aftertouch keyboard, some of these sounds are really very cool and expressive, even in just that basic level. But throw into the mix an MPE controller, and they get really very cool. And at €99, because I mean the plugin itself is normally €200.
Yeah.
So you're getting it at half price, plus you're getting 4 extra banks as well.
Yeah. I mean, it comes with a bag of sounds, absolutely.
Yeah.
Plethora of them that you can play with.
And it's if you just put everything Expressive E to one side, Phase Plant, I can't believe I'd kind of, this one had passed me by. I'd heard about it, but it never really.
I'm thinking the same thing, Robbie. It's much the same. I'm kind of
really.
why? Where's that? $99 or £99? I'm gonna be getting that.
Yeah. And the only quibble, if I call it a quibble, is that because it has this very modular, and when I say modular, I don't mean Eurorack, I mean different modules that you can activate and plug in and stuff. They do a bunch of effects, like they do a thing called Convolver, which is a convolution reverb thing. And many of the patches use the Convolver, but if you don't own the Convolver plugin, which is €39 or something, you can't edit the Convolver settings. So they're kind of locked. So you get the effect, but you just don't get the editing ability. So you have to buy that as well.
So Convolver, is that a fraudulent Swedish motor car?
I'll tell you what I like about the face plant that struck me is it's just a little thing, right? Spirito Santi, dum de dum.
Oh, stop! It won't stop now.
You buggered it now, haven't you? Should have bought a Mac, mate.
Stop! Stop! It won't. Just carry on, and I'll see if I can nix it somewhere.
No one would have believed in the early part of the 19th century that human affairs were being watched from the timeless worlds of space.
It should time out.
Oi! Kent!
What?
No, that doesn't stop it. I don't want to press the button again. I'm just hoping it's going to time out. But so you were saying?
Yeah. Cold. Really cold in here.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Oh,
the editor.
Cold.
The's a feature.
Right.
In the editor.
Pro.
I'm just going outside. Maybe sometime.
How does this...
It's penguins, sir.
So if I do that, the wind goes, but the bells come.
But then the bells ring. There's an owl. I never noticed the owl. We're going to get a copyright strike from the BBC Sounds Department. You know that?
That or the owl. I'd like to have you know that that's me. Oh, there you go. It's gone.
Hurrah!
Yeah, that was a hoot.
Right, go ahead.
Oh, very good.
But no, don't push the button.
Not going to touch it.
There's
a ringer.
There's this little feature in the editor, and I go, why don't other people do this? When you've got multiple LFOs running, right, and you've got something going on, say with the in what springs to mind, the format filter, and it's sweeping using an LFO, one of the LFOs. You put your mouse over the little buttony thing in the format filter window, and it draws you an arrow to what LFO is running it.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I went,
I'd not
why
noticed
doesn't
that.
anybody else do this?
That's really.
And if you put it on one of the VCOs, and it show you where it's been driven by and where it is going to, and you go, thank you.
I'm actually going to load up the plug-in now.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
there's a little. Let me just quickly have a look and see what the icon looks like. Because I can never remember. That's terrible.
A Celtic cross, a potato, a kitten with gloves on, boxing gloves, and a
Let's have
dog.
look. Where's the look? There's there's this little thingy. Oh, God, where is it? It's like a little
A latchkey otter.
No, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, you got it.
I found something. Hang on. Let me see if I can
put it up on the screen. All editors one day will have this.
Oh, where did it go? Oh, I see. This,
What
yeah.
a polished end to the show.
Well, the
this
thing is, my why does that come up? Oh, wow.
I don't
Right,
think people
okay.
should see this. I'm going to play Blade Runner in a minute. Get it
Right,
lifted.
present.
What's a filter do?
Stop that screen, and we'll present this one, and we'll go to window, and we'll have to go to that, I guess. And
There you
then add to stage. Can you see the plugin, or is it just?
Yes.
It's just, I'm just
Oh.
seeing. No, it's just the
It's just the
door.
mixer,
Just the door.
the door.
It won't because obviously the plugin opens up in its own window, but it won't allow me. I'll have to do.
Sound window.
Can you not point it at the window? There is a video on the website showing it, doing it.
I think we're just going to have to let people. I'm not going to mess around because
It's a feature, guys.
It's a feature, but literally, I've just hovered over the ring mod feature, and this little dashed line
Yeah.
just
And it
goes
makes
down,
down. Yeah.
and shows me exactly where it's going. Like if I hover over the mod wheel, it shows me that that's what it's affecting. It's so cool.
Does it
Yeah.
show you where the cross between a cat and a King Edwards is?
Yep. If you've got a cat and a kid Edwards running.
Yeah, I have. I've got a few
Wow.
oscillators on here.
Oh, that's
Jesus.
so cool. I'm just going to sit here and play with that. I'm not going to make any music. I'm just going to look at arrows drawing
What
themselves.
do you think
on
they'll be
screen.
doing for the last 10 years?
Oscillators.
Amazing.
Haircut.
Oscillators. Jesus Christ.
And
Oi.
that about brings us to the end of the show.
Bloody hell.
Just to remind people, if you want to buy that plugin, it's you need to go to Expressive E, and you can then buy Phase Plant and all those packages for that wonderful price from Expressive E. So you have to go there first. It's not available directly, I don't think, from Kilohertz. So there you go. And you have to download the Kilohertz installer or something. Yeah, one of those.
Hang on,
but it's not.
hang on.
It's not an installer that installs on your system. It's just basically an application. You just double click it and then you can throw it away, and it does it there.
How very dare you? 3 grown men. Where?
Yeah, quite. No, Faceplant, yeah, because it got updated to version 2 fairly recently. But no, it completely passed me by.
Grown.
Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, that brings us to
Grown.
9 o'clock. It's time for my bedtime, and so we should be saying goodbye.
Indeed.
So, thank you, gentlemen, once again for joining me on this merry ride through the world of synthesizer and music technology. Thank you to our audience for coming back again and again and again. And
Both
thank
of
you,
them.
Thank you to everyone that's donated to the show. Oh, we've missed a couple here. Wagyu did the 666 chuffs. I want to hear Nyango Star playing his kit. Asef Stripe, which of course is our wonderful friend David Serchek. That pause was worth $10, so he's only given us $9.99.
It's pause.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Much love to you both. Andy, by the way, this is not Andy's our moderator, either of Andy. This is another Andy. Asked the question: I'm a Patreon member using the same email as for YouTube. How do I link them up to have the Patreon logo? I'm not sure you can do that, and if you can, I'd like to know how. I didn't think there was a way to. If there is, somebody tell me, because I'm very new with Patreon. I'm still learning. I actually sent somebody a message the other day to welcome them to the channel, which I didn't know, and now I've set it up automatically, so you will all get welcomed. So everyone that's joined on Patreon thought, oh, I've signed up and given them some money. They haven't even said thank you. That's why, because I hadn't figured it out. But I didn't know that you could, but if you can, let me know, and I'll happily try and sort that out. But yeah, thank you for that. Let me just tuck that away. Yeah, again, thank you to everyone that's donated or who has signed up during the show. Thank you very, very much indeed. Don't forget to come back next week, because next week is our
Cake week.
4th birthday. Yes, cakes
week.
indeed. There will be cakes.
Sparklies.
And might even be champagne or something. And I guess I need to figure out if we're going to do anything special. Like in terms of guests or...
So we were also asking whether or not anyone had any particular favourite things. I've not seen much chatter about that. And it's probably getting a bit late, but I will have a little bit of time. If we can find like 4 or 5, and someone could... If you've got an episode that you particularly like and you can find a place in it and the episode number, just drop it to me.
Give us a timestamp and an episode number.
Clue. Give us a clue,
and we can maybe chop something out. But can we? And I don't mind if that's what you want. But can we think of other things that aren't, JJ Angzalik telling me how awful the DX7 was, or
no, that's
the Ben What a Wanker thing, or because we've done all those. Find something new.
We could go back 3 weeks and see my haircut. See the difference between before and after.
We could. Yeah, and let's not do the Regen live thing again, please. That was bad enough doing it live, let alone watching it painfully week in, week out.
Why do I get the feeling cables are going to be involved?
Cables could be involved, yeah.
Andrew, just give us a clue. Just fight. If you listen, I know it's a pain. I've got to face that as well, and we've all got real jobs, right? But there's a couple of 100 episodes here. If you can just pick 1 or 2 and have a quick scrub through, if there's something you know. Bearing in mind, I've only been involved in this for a year, so probably all the best bits have been since I've been, obviously. Obviously. But you can go back over the last 3 years before that and find one thing. I'm sure there'll be something, but won't be as good or as pretty.
I can't imagine we'll do anything too dramatic next week. I just don't have the time or the energy to...
Not dramatic?
Yeah, dramatic. Woe is me. So if you want to join us next week, it is our official 4th birthday. It will be episode 208, and if you divide that by 52... Actually, no, there's been a leap year, hasn't there?
So
there's been 2 leap years.
This birthday's been coming and going for bloody weeks.
We'll just do it like that. Well, episode 208 is 4 years worth.
Yeah.
I'm just whatever.
It's a leap year, not a leap week.
When you get to this age, you just don't care.
Yeah,
it's all just numbers.
Well, maybe there was a show that didn't happen 1 week.
No, there's always been a show.
Always.
We've never missed a show.
But occasionally, Kent, you and I have done one, and
yeah, they don't count.
But no, we've always done a show. I think I'm incredibly proud that we have actually managed to put out a show every week for 4 years.
I can't believe I've been on how long have I been doing this for? Is it a year?
2 bleeding long. Yeah, it's about
It is. It really is.
You were sort of sporadic, and then
sign a petition if you want me off. I mean, really, I could do a Friday night back.
Thank you to JD Crouch also, who has just joined us on Patreon. Thank you for that.
What Carl Bedford put?
Dear, oh dear, this is not good.
No.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I can't say anything right now, but we have some very special guests coming up in a few weeks' time, and they're going to be talking about a very, very special thing that we can't talk about right now, but you will hear about it.
Keir Starmer? No.
But it's very exciting, and they've got a new thing, and they want to talk about that thing on our show. They actually asked us, "Can we talk about it on your show first?" And we were like, "Yeah, go on then." So stay tuned for that one. Keep an eye out for that. But that's going to be very cool and very fun. But anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you very much. Don't forget Ramsey tomorrow, 1 p.m. UK time, I believe. I said 2 p.m. last week because I'm sure he said 2 p.m., but it's 1 p.m. I'm pretty sure.
Is Synchrotron doing anything tomorrow morning as well?
Synchrotron, 10 o'clock in the morning. Synchrotron is... tuned in last week, and he was doing some plugging in. It looked like he was trying to put caller through to an overseas landline, but he was doing something, and it sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
Mind
And then
the
he got his
gap.
guitar out as well, and that's when things got really interesting. So yeah, I really like that. So synchrotron 10 a.m. tomorrow. Then there's Ramsey at 1 p.m. Then Jamie, I believe, who's got a guest on, named Ben something or other, not Ben Simpson, not Ben Breslin, but some other Ben. There is more than one, but he's on the show on Sunday at 6 p.m.
Dover?
There's Henrik tomorrow night as well.
Oh, and
Senior
Henrik's
Synth stream.
Henrik's
yeah.
Synth
Yeah,
stream.
yeah,
not
singing
eight?
Synth stream tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, plenty to get your teeth into over this weekend and into next week. And say we'll be back same time, same place next week for our 4th birthday. So do tune in for that. Hopefully we'll have some surprises. If not, don't be too disappointed. And thank you ever so much for coming along and sticking around. And we'll see you all same time, same place next week. Au revoir.
Au revoir.